Hello everyone, welcome to Envis Technologies Private Limited. Envis has developed a series of fuel cell training systems, and today we are going to see the working and introduction about these training systems. So first product is fuel cell trainer, which is based on a PEM membrane fuel cell. So PEM membrane is proton exchange membrane, or sometimes it is also called as polymer electrolyte membrane, because here electrolyte is solid material which is perfluorosulfonic acid. This membrane is a heart of this system. This is a fuel cell which has an anode, cathode, and in center there is a membrane. So here you can see this PEM membrane is a very special kind of fuel cell is a very special fuel cell which works both the way, like electrolyzer also and like fuel cell also. So what we are doing in this system is we are pouring some water into these two tanks. You can see one tank is of oxygen and another tank is of hydrogen. So when the water is filled into these two tanks, the electrolysis process takes place when we are energizing the fuel cell. Then hydrogen is splitted from the water and oxygen is splitted from the water. Hydrogen is filled into this tank and oxygen is filled into this tank. Once you get the hydrogen, you can use it, the same fuel cell, to generate the electricity. So that's why I called this fuel cell as a reversible fuel cell, because it does the function of both electrolyzer also and as a fuel cell also. So here what we are going to demonstrate you, since we are energizing fuel cell with the help of solar energy, or you can use some battery supply, or you can use any DC source, but since we are going to experiment with solar cell, so we can call the hydrogen generated fuel as a green hydrogen. As we know that about the gray hydrogen and blue hydrogen and green hydrogen, the green hydrogen is the thing where the carbon emission is less and very less, and the energy is clean and sustainable. So for the experimentation inside the laboratory, meanwhile I am using one battery so that I can demonstrate you this experiment. So when I am energizing this fuel cell with the help of some battery, so like I am connecting here. So before connecting this battery, I will just explain you how this fuel cell is working. So you can see here one anode electrode is there, and another is the cathode electrode. It is made up of titanium, and cathode is made up of platinum. Now what happens when we energize this electrolyzer and we are feeding hydrogen towards the anode? So when hydrogen comes into contact of anode, the electrolysis process takes place and hydrogen atoms are splitted and it converted into the protons. So that proton means ions. So that ions are traveled towards the cathode. So since our membrane is designed in such a way that it only passes the protons, that's why it is also called as proton exchange membrane. So when proton reaches to the cathode, their hydrogen protons are reached to the cathode, and at the cathode end, oxygen is fed. So oxygen is met with the hydrogen protons, and their reaction takes place, and water is generated as the byproduct of this fuel cell. Now what happens when the protons are emitting from anode side and moving towards the cathode side? During this process, when we know that when protons are released, then electrons are other byproduct of that process. So electrons are also released. So these electrons are flowed into the external circuitry where we can connect any load or we can perform any application. So in this way we get the electricity out of it. So now I am doing here the electrolyzer procedure. So for that I have to connect a solar panel or power supply, since inside we are doing, in lab we are doing this experiment. So I am just demonstrating you with the help of this battery. So you can see here in oxygen and in hydrogen, you can see the air bubbles are started. So these bubbles are indicating that the hydrogen gas is started to release. Similarly you can see in oxygen. So within a minute or 2 minutes, under 2 minutes, this tank will be full with the hydrogen, and this hydrogen, then after that we can remove the battery and we can use fuel cell as a power supply, and then we can perform some basic experiments. Like here we are providing one application board where we are giving some buzzer, a lamp, a potentiometer to perform some VI characteristic experiment, and a fan where a small DC motor is there. So all these functions we can do with the help of this fuel cell based power. So right now you can see here the bubbles are releasing. After few moments, when the tank will be filled, the bubbles will stop automatically to come, so that will indicate that your tank is full of hydrogen now. Now you can use it for the next purpose. So now what I will do, I will just disconnect this battery from this fuel cell. Now I can use, now this fuel cell is totally disconnected from any power supply. Now I can use this fuel cell as a power supply. So we can take this application board and we can connect a DC motor as a load, and we need to connect here to use the fuel cell as a power supply. So as soon as I will connect this positive supply, you can see this motor will move. This you can see, this motor is moving. So I stopped it. It is stopped. I removed it. I connected again. So in this way it is moving. One more thing we can see. So if I am connecting a lamp, you can see here